Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here, you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the RichMind Podcast. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the RichMind Podcast. And today, coming back with Joel Salomon again, we are going to be going to the next step in his 9 money rules that millionaires use. And we've gone through 1 through 5. Today, we're going to be going into step number 6. And I told him before we hit record, I don't know necessarily what 6 is, but I'm super curious of what step 6 is. Every time we do this, and he just kind of hits it with what the message is. We go into some detail of how you can use it in your own life. I'm learning right along with you folks, and this has been a lot of fun for me. Last episode, we just went into gratitude. I would highly suggest you go back and re-listen to that one. That was a lot of fun. I'm super passionate about that topic myself. I was trying to interject some of the ideas and things that have worked for me. And I think that was a great collaboration between the two of us as far as how you can use gratitude to really become aware of a better life than you may not even be even aware that it's even possible, right? From my experience and from what Joel's told me from his experience as well, it absolutely is possible. You just have to change a few little tweaks in your own mindset, in your own belief systems, and your awareness and your vibrations and all those things that we've been talking about so far. So without further ado, let's bring Joel back on the show. We'll go into step number 6, and I'm super excited to where we're going to go with this one. So Joel, welcome back, man.
Thank you, Randy. Such an honor and pleasure to be here again today. So I just want to review rule number 1 again briefly, which is when you believe, because it's so critical. And think about it. Randy just talked about gratitude. So do you believe that gratitude can create more abundance and prosperity in your life? What's your belief level from 1 to 10? Because if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. But I believe it and Randy believes it, and look at what's happened, right? So much abundance and prosperity. So think about rule number 1 as it applies to each of the other money rules. Do you believe rule number 2, trust your intuition? Do you believe that intuition can help you make more money? Do you believe that if you're happier, you can be more abundant and prosperous? Rule number 3. Do you believe that visualizing can create more abundance in your life? What do you believe? If you don't believe it, don't do it because it's not going to work. Okay. But I, in my heart of hearts, believe that when you're grateful and appreciating, that what you appreciate appreciates. So let's talk about rule number 6 in the 9 money rules millionaires use. And this, I know I say it each time, but I think this may be the most powerful of the 9 money rules, truly. So I'll just tell you a quick story, which happened after Mindful Money Management, my first book, came out. And Mindful Money Management, we figured out the algorithm on Amazon and we got it to be bestseller over the first weekend, but the sales were going through the roof. And so I was thinking about the book, Mindful Money Management, and one of the comments I got on the book was, this has so much great content in there. And it was really a memoir. You should really think about a rule book that people can use for creating abundance and prosperity. And so that's how the 9 money rules, it was basically a critique of my first book. And I had basically almost all of the 9 money rules in that book. And one of them was, I had talked about the importance of giving your time, of giving a smile to a stranger or giving a compliment to a stranger. And I was thinking how book sales weren't going great. I have this new book and I truly believe it can change lives. And this was in 2018, January 2018, the book came out. And I would be going into Manhattan a couple times a week. So I'd bring 1 or 2 books with me, and I'd see somebody reading, and I'd say, hey, do you like to read? And I'd give them a book. And I did this for a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden, the sales were like going like this. And I was like, what is going on? And then it hit me. Rule number 6. So I will tell my clients now to give. When you're feeling most poverty conscious, when you're feeling most scarce, when you're feeling most in lack, give. And one of my clients said, Joel, so if I give my money away, I'll have less money. How does that work? And what I say is money is just energy. And by putting it out there, you're creating flow, and it must come back to you. And usually when it does, in multiples of what you put out. So I'm not saying like go into debt to give, but there are so many people on this earth. We talked a little bit about this when we were talking about rule number 5. There are 8 billion people on the planet. There are billions, literally a couple of billion people that don't have 3 solid meals a day. There are people who don't have enough water each day. They have to go literally still miles away to get their water, right? And so you're like, if you're watching this podcast, I'm pretty sure you're more well off than billions of people. And you're probably living the dream life of at least 1 billion people on this earth, believe it or not. So write that down. I'm living the dream life of at least 1 billion people on this earth. So, and I'm not saying going to debt to give your money away, but you could give to your favorite charity or your favorite religious organization, and pick one right now. Pick one that most resonates with you. And when you're feeling in lack or scarce, give. This will completely change the way you feel. And look, if you don't have to just give money, right? You could give a smile to a stranger. You have a gift or a talent, you could share that with the world. You know, I give 30 minutes free of prosperity coaching to the world. Anybody who is watching this right now can sign up for free for a 30-minute free consultation, no obligation to do anything else. And that's one of the ways I give every day, and no obligation to do anything more. And sometimes, like today, I got on the call with somebody and he really can't sign up for coaching with me. And I don't want to put people in debt to do that. So, but we got on the call and he was so grateful at the end of the call for our conversation, for just the way he was talking. He realized that he was talking in lack and scarcity and talking negative. And he didn't even realize. And I think the first step to change is being self-aware. We've talked about that in the past. And he was self-aware enough to say, ooh, you know, I need to change the way I'm saying these words. And so the light bulb went off in his head. And for me, that was enough. That was, you know, that made my day, you know. So by giving just some of my time, I've changed a life, and that's worth it. Right. And so think about how you can give. Again, it doesn't have to be just money. It could give you time. You could give a compliment to a stranger. You could give a smile to a stranger, or like, what gift or talent do you have to share with others?
We're giving on this podcast today, these episodes that we're trying to come together with and create some value to the listeners, right? There's so many different ways.
Yeah. And, you know, I call it the rule of generous giving, because I talk about in chapter 8, which is rule number 6 in the 9 money rules, about generous giving. So don't do it just because I said to do it, right? Like, you can, but there are many times I've been in Manhattan where there's somebody on the subway train that's asking for money, or somebody just sitting on the corner, many corners in Manhattan, asking for money. And I don't give when I feel obligated to give. I give when I want to give from my heart. And so I have the charities that I give to. And then there may be times like I'll tip more than, 15%, because we got great service. And or maybe there's somebody who's a little bit older in their 70s still working at a place, and I would think usually that's because they don't have enough money to live on. And so I'll just tip a little bit more there. Or, think about your favorite charities. Like, what do you really want to contribute towards, and then give to that. And so that's what I do, rather than, somebody's, here, give me some money. Because I think giving from the heart is so much more powerful than giving when you feel obligated to do so. It's not that it's not helpful to the other person, but I told a story in the book about this woman in Grand Central Station, Manhattan, and I had just come out of the bathroom, and this woman was picking plastic bottles out of the garbage. And at least in New York, I don't know if this is in every state, but in New York, they give you 5 cents for every plastic bottle that you return to be recycled. And so she was going through the garbage to get, the 20 or 30 plastic bottles in there to make $1. And I went over to her and gave her a lot more than that. And we talked about gratitude last time. She was so grateful. Her vibration just jumped immensely. And she was like, just so like almost like tears in her eyes, because I probably saved her a day's worth of work at least. And so like that warmed my heart. Like, oh my God, like I'm grateful she was grateful. And that giving, but that was the law of generous giving, doing it because I wanted to, not because I have to. And so think about that when you're giving. I'm not saying that giving when you feel like you have to is wrong, but it's just when you're giving from a place of your heart, then it's even more powerful.
So just keep it super simple, folks, right? It doesn't, I love the example you mentioned about tipping, right? Just give a little bit more. Right. Why wouldn't you do that? You're exchanging that energy back and forth. One thing, and I was going to run this by you too, as far as a thought that I have too, Joel, is changing the mindset that when you're in an exchange or in a transaction with somebody, being grateful for that exchange, because obviously you're going to be getting something for it, right? Whether it's a product or a service or something like that. It goes back into that gratitude idea that we had in the previous lesson, that start changing the mindset and believing that being grateful for the transaction that you're about ready to have with somebody, and think of it as giving, even though it might be, it's an even swap or an even exchange, right? Whether you're buying, restaurant food, or if you're a service or a product or something like that, just start switching the mindset to the idea that being grateful for that transaction too will change your vibration and how you feel about money as well.
Absolutely. And what I say to my clients is, when you're feeling most in lack or scarce, give. Like, it's like, find something. Like, there have been days over the last 6-7 years or months where I haven't made any money prosperity coaching. And those months were the months I decided I have to give. Like, I have to find something or someone to give to, because it just changes my, what you're doing to your subconscious mind is you're saying, I got plenty to spare and share. I got plenty to spare and share. Even if you're not consciously saying it, it's going on subconsciously. And that's powerful.
And we talked about, last episode, about the idea of having negative thoughts versus positive thoughts, right? And the negatives are bringing, it's like counterbalancing. So if you just change the ideas and the thoughts of being positive, of being abundant, of having enough, being able to give more, right? It opens and unlocks the awareness, the ability to receive more. Like you said, as you give, you're going to continue to receive. There's just so many different nuances that I just want to kind of throw kind of my thoughts and my spin on it. Maybe it will resonate with folks a little bit differently as well. But it's the same idea, is that you've got to continue to put out what you're expecting to receive. And if you feel like you're locked up at all with anything, whether it's financial, whether it's anything that's going on negative in your life, look to give. And we're using money as an example through these examples today, but it can be as simple as Joel said about giving away your time. You can give away your attention. You can listen to somebody and give your full attention, be completely present with that person. That's giving to them, right? It can be so many different ways that I think people get caught up on oh, I don't have any money, or I just, giving, people get so caught up on the money part, just like with gratitude, getting caught up with the technicalities of doing the process versus just feeling the process. It's a feeling that generates the awareness. That's been my experience. So anyways, I just want to throw my 2 cents in there as well.
Absolutely. It's feeling first, manifestation second. So yeah, you have these thoughts, but it's the feelings that are connected to the thoughts that are most important. And a great affirmation to say is, if you believe it, and we're going to talk about belief again next, is I'm a generous giver and an excellent receiver. I'm a generous giver and an excellent receiver. But check yourself. What's your belief level from 1 to 10, where 10 is absolute faith? I know this to be true. And 1 is massive doubt. I know this not to be true. So what's your level? I am a generous giver and excellent receiver. If you're not at least a 7, 8, 9, or 10, soften it. I'm on my way to becoming a generous giver and an excellent receiver, and see how that feels.
So when you teach affirmations a lot, and I love that. So can you give folks, maybe they're not familiar with affirmations as much as you and I might be, can you give some ideas as far as like, is it aloud? Is it to yourself? Does that make sense where I'm asking you? Do you have any like best practices with people are just getting exposed to the use of affirmations, right? Like the one you just give was fantastic. Can you give somebody like, okay, you do it in this kind of a situation to kind of really get the best impact? Is there any idea for that?
Yes. So thank you. Great leading question, Randy. So in my TEDx talk, How to Create Money Miracles, I spend one of the two tips for creating real financial abundance is affirmations. So I'll go over, this is one of the two, specifically affirmations and how to say them. And so one is, by the way, I am a generous giver and excellent receiver, the two most powerful words in the English language. So say those. And saying it out loud with emotion. We've already been talking about, vibration and energy. And so and how are you feeling? So saying it out loud is helpful. Putting your name in it is also very helpful. So you can say, I, Randy Wilson, am a generous giver and an excellent receiver. Saying it, with emotion. I, Randy Wilson, am a generous giver and excellent receiver. Right. And putting the affirmation in the past or present tense. So that's preferable if you can do it, if you believe it. Like, I am a generous giver and excellent receiver. If you don't believe that at all, then we can soften into on the way to, I'm becoming, until you get to the point where you can say it. And I'd recommend not saying I'm becoming or on my way to for the next 2 years, right? Because it's always in the future. At some point, you want to strengthen it to I am. So saying affirmations in the present or past tense with emotion, putting your name in it out loud, is the best way to do affirmations.
I love that. So I call it, and you might even call them this way as well, but the I am statements. That's what I call them. I call them my own I am statements. And I have several. You can call them affirmations. You can call them, there's different different words maybe for them, but that's what I call them, my own I am statements. So anybody listening to this might be familiar with Bob Proctor. I just wanted to put this in there as well. So Bob Proctor was in the movie The Secret. He's, as far as personal development, he's helped millions and millions of people. One sentence that he gave, and I repeat this to myself a lot, and you can plug and play however it fits into your life. And maybe you've heard of this, Joel. I'd be curious to know. But the statement was, I am so happy and grateful now that. And then you plug in whatever the ending, whatever it is you're grateful for. And it's almost like a proclamation that you're proclaiming something, but that also expresses some gratitude in there as well. That I am so happy and grateful now that. And then just finishing that sentence with whatever is on your heart in that moment. And I use that one a lot for myself, and that I use that with my I am statements a lot. So I love that you went there too. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I don't know that one specifically, but put in now that I am financially free.
Right. You can plug in anything. That's what, yeah,
Right?
financially
So I
free.
am so happy and grateful now that I am financially free. And again, you want to put stuff in that you believe.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not a 7, 8, 9, or 10, soften it. I'm so happy and grateful. I'm on my way to becoming financially free. Or I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a money magnet.
And just say it to yourself, say it out loud, just feel it. And, you know what I mean? Like you said, with emotion. And just, if you try that, folks, I promise you, because I've been doing this now for quite some time, it will completely change the way you feel, the way you show up, the energy that you have in an environment, whether it's with your family, with your close friends, whatever it is. When I learned that with the affirmations and the techniques with that, the I am statements has been super, super important in my life for sure. That's awesome. Cool, Joel. Well, this has been another great one. Money rule number 6, the giving, right? That's the idea, is to give.
The law of generous giving. Yes.
The law of generous giving is rule number 6, folks. So hopefully, once again, you found a ton of value in this episode. Go back and replay this one several times. Get your own affirmations, create your own I am statements. As Joel said, if you can't say it with complete belief, we talked about beliefs in this episode as well, soften it. I like how you said that, soften it. That's a great way to kind of even visualize your words and the way you feel about certain things. Make sure that when you are saying them, that you feel it with certainty. The more certain you are as you say these things, the quicker things are going to come to your awareness, which then you're going to be able to take some action, which is going to create the different results. And that's how it works. That's been my experience anyways, in this journey we call life. And it's been a lot of fun. So go out there, follow Joel, Salomon.com. We'll have the links in the show notes. He's all over social media. He's creating content every day. He's all over, as I mentioned, the different social platforms. Follow Joel. He mentioned a 30-minute consultation. You get a free call with Joel and jump on that. I highly recommend it. He shared that it sounds like he helped a gentleman even just today. Who knows where that gentleman's going to go after just 30 minutes with Joel, and you can have that as well. So go out there, have a fantastic day. And until we come back with the next money rule, we'll talk very soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining me on the RichMind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review, and you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Rohn shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.